All right, Chris, you should be able to see our screen right now. I got Kevin's profile pulled up.
All right, I'm going to give you my first instinct. My first instinct is I like what I see because Kevin's doing 3 things that a lot of the accounts that I've seen in the past are not doing. Number 1, see how his circle actually has that color around it, Jimmy?
Yep.
That means he's got stories. Stories are more popular than the news feed starting this year. Like if you're not posting stories, you're going to kind of be a ghost. I was talking to this agent the other day. I said, what are you sending your clients? He said, well, I used to send them stuff that was cheesy and now I don't send them anything. And it's like, well, do you want to be cheesy or do you want to be invisible? That's a difficult choice. But Jimmy, click on Kevin's picture because it'll show everyone that he's posting stories. Now, how many stories does he have there, Jimmy?
Right now, it appears he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stories.
Not bad. And he's got the hashtags. He's using the copy. Click through a couple more for me. He's actually using them what I would call the right way. So the first thing I notice on that account, if I'm a modern consumer, if I'm a millennial that's looking to hire a realtor that, knows what they're doing, just the fact that he has a story is a differentiator, and they look really good. So that's the first thing. Jimmy, go back to the bio. This is the second thing. Kevin's bio looks great. Kevin's bio, the way that he has it, what I would call short and sweet. Did we lose Kevin, Jimmy?
I'm going to pull it up here and just keep him on me. I know you're looking at it.
Scott's, it's Kevin Owens Realtor.
I got you here.
And if you guys want to follow along, you can see his handle there. But look at that bio. See how there's like an emoji space, Scottsdale native. Emoji space, ranked top 5%. Emoji space, America's top 100 agents. I can tell that he's good at what he does. I can tell what he does, and I can tell where he does it all by glancing at his bio. I was looking at one of our client accounts. I'm going to call him out. He's a good friend, and he won't be mad. Samuel Park. Sam Park and the Park Group, they're amazing. They're probably in the top 1% of all agent marketers in the world. He didn't have a bio in his Instagram. It's just like, man, people forget that stuff. The other thing he did there, Jimmy, he obviously has a link in his profile. Okay. Now, I just figured out that link is, he's using Linktree. So, Jimmy, click on that link. And I want to talk about that for a second. It did the same thing for me, but it'll load.
Okay.
It's a very common tactic, you guys, on Instagram to say, hey, link in bio, because you can't do links. So people say link in bio. Well, it sucks to have to change the link in your bio every time. So what Kevin's using is a technology called Linktree. And what Linktree does is it allows you to change the link there so that you can keep the same link in your bio all the time. And you can have multiple links as you see what Kevin's doing. So props to him for setting up Linktree, having it kind of customized, a little grainy on the photo, not going to lie, a little low res, but pull this up for me, Jimmy, really quick. Go to Kaizen, pull up our client site, Kaizen Home Sales, and then do /IG, because I want to give people a pro tip here. You can use Linktree, okay? You could use Linktree like Kevin is, but you could almost do the same thing on your site. This is something one of our awesome marketers did, Jenny Berger with Casey here. See how it's exactly the same thing as Linktree, Jimmy? It's literally the same thing, but it's on your site. So that's a good pro tip for Kevin. Recreate the concept of Linktree on your website as a page. You can still do the updates in the back end, but then everybody that clicks, they're on your site, and you've still got the list that they can click on. So a lot of pro tips happening.
Let me ask you a quick follow-up question there. Does the order of the Linktree matter?
Yes. So Jimmy, the way that works is you can see how he's got so many in there. All you have to factor in is you want to make sure the top one is the one you're referencing in your most recent post. Okay. So if we're referencing Watch the Water Cooler Live, that needs to be our top link. From there down, think about it, Jimmy. Here's another good use case of Linktree. Hey, click here to listen to our show. Well, I don't know if they've got Stitcher. I don't know if they've got iTunes. I don't know if they've got Spotify. So that's a way to link people to one place, and then it branches out to other places. That's why it's called a Linktree. Go back to the profile, though, Jimmy. I want to mention something else that Kevin's doing. Couple other good things. One is, see how he tagged a different page in his bio? So a lot of our clients, Jimmy, they have their personal account, and then they have a business account. And what you can do is you can actually tag in your bio your other account.
Yeah.
And what that does, it gets you some cross-pollination and some cross-growth. The other thing that jumps off the page here, Jimmy, for me, are the highlights.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the highlights, which are those little circles in gray, there's a bunch of them. They're beautiful. Now, I will say, see how it says home to ... You got to go short on your highlight descriptions because you don't get a lot of copy there. But, Jimmy, click on one of the staging highlights for me.
Sure.
What the highlights allow you to do is, even though stories come and go, the highlights are a place for you to build up an archive of all your old stories.
Yeah.
So you can see that, like, when does that say it was posted, Jimmy? When were those
Yeah, these
posted?
are 7 weeks ago, 8 weeks ago, 59
Because people
weeks
tell us all
ago.
the time, oh, I don't want to post it if it goes away the next day. These are 7 weeks old, and they're organized in a really smart way.
Yeah.
So those are my first impressions. Love that he's doing stories. Great bio. Love that he's tagging his other page. Love that he's using Linktree. Now, let's go down to the actual post for a second, Jimmy. Let's look at the actual post. You know, the one that I like the most, the one that jumps off the page for me is the second one in the second row, the one with the sky. Like, people ask us all the time, what should I post on Instagram? How about beautiful pictures? Let's start with that. That's the whole point of the network. Now, I didn't look at this before, Jimmy, but look how many likes that has.
Yep.
131? Okay, close that and open up that first picture, the report. How many's that one got?
Yeah, it's got 53.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you don't want to get too far out of whack here when you're choosing stuff. The stuff that is beautiful, homes. Now, the one I like, if you go down, Jimmy, go to the one that says Scottsdale ranked #1. That's a great way to do kind of a more of a community, less about a listing. It's still got 120 likes. The other thing he's doing a good job of, Jimmy, look at the actual description of that post. See how he's got a couple emojis in there?
Yeah.
See how he's got the hashtags in there? The other thing he did a good job of, notice how the hashtags are in the first comment.
So talk me through that for a second, because this is something I see a lot of, I think, professional people who are posting Instagram do really well. Is they don't let's be real here. We got to be authentic and real with the audience. I'm taking notes as you're talking about this, even though I'm gonna do my own live review with a different twist on this in a second. But I see people do that. I still stick to the posting my hashtags in the actual description or in the actual post. So like, is there a right balance there that we're trying to strike?
Yeah, there's really no right or wrong way to do it, but let me explain it this way. The more you do, the spammier it looks and the more desperate you look. Like, you can do it in the first comment or you can do it in the post. But if you got so many of them in the post, it looks really spammy. So what I try to do is I try to put a couple hashtags in the post itself. And then if I want to get more distribution, I'll put some hashtags in comment 1. The point of hashtags is that people that don't follow you might follow that hashtag. And then your post might end up kind of being featured in that hashtag. Let me show one other post he did, Jimmy. Go to the one where it's him standing in the kitchen. This is the other thing. Like, people are used to seeing people. I was actually talking about a different one. Go down 2 more rows. But either way, the one of him in the kitchen that you just showed plus this one, they're also some of his highest engaging stuff. He's got over 100 likes on this stuff. So people ask us all the time, hey, I want to do Instagram. What should I do? Well, pictures of yourself, pictures of houses. That's my analysis of this account. He's consistent. It looks beautiful. There's one thing Kevin needs. Let me give Kevin one critique. Kevin needs a brand kit. You see what I'm saying? I can't figure out what his colors are. I can't figure out what his fonts are. There's no consistency to the feed. Everything looks really good. Nothing looks similar. So if you, Jimmy, do me a favor, pull up my Instagram real quick. You want to try to stay on brand even as you vary your stuff. So as you scroll through my feed, like, you kind of feel like it all came from the same brand. There's a lot of red. There's a lot of black. The fonts are very similar. It feels like it all came from the same account. Now go back to Kevin's. Kevin's don't feel like they all came from the same account. See that?
Yeah.
So anyway, that to me is, I'm kind of being picky here. I want to give Kevin mad props. I think he's doing a great job. I think this guy's using Instagram really well as an agent. in still what I would call the early days of people trying.
Yeah, and let me do one quick plug before I go on to mine here, Chris. We had almost 100 people who joined us who came from that earlier share. Can you just give me 30 seconds on that again? Because I want people to make sure who's just joining right now what we're giving away here for the show.
Yeah, basically, guys, listen, Jimmy and I, like, we're giving a little bit of a live consulting here with Kevin, but we are going to do a private one-on-one coaching for 2 people at the end of this live stream. Jimmy's going to do one. I'm going to do one. And all you have to do if you want us to analyze your accounts the way we're analyzing these accounts, hit share on the Facebook Live right now, share it with your friends, share it in the groups you're in, and then you will automatically be entered to win. We'll be announcing those winners, Jimmy, about 30 minutes from now live on the air.
Love it. Okay. So I'll go over mine here, Chris. And this is, first off, this is like Family Feud where the first person goes and they get like all the answers right. And then what you're left with guessing like number 6 and 7 on the board.
Yeah.
But we're looking at right now is David Jr. Realtor. So right out of the gates, my initial impressions are all I can do right now is contrast into what we saw with Kevin. I like Kevin's stories better. As you mentioned earlier at the end of that, Chris, he has that design kit, at least for his stories, maybe not for his posts, but he has a design kit for his stories. David doesn't have that. First off, David, no one calls it a vlog. We have to eliminate this from our vocabulary. A video blog is just a video or videos. Dallas trip is super specific in terms of like who cares about Dallas in this particular case. Agent 2021, I get that. That's also a real estate industry specific event. And then no limits. I have no idea what that means. So just for the first thing, Chris, when I see this, as I'm absorbing this, is he targeting realtors or consumers? Because when I look at the highlights, it's all realtors. So if that's your angle, then okay, it's going to make a little bit more sense. But if that's not your angle, then we're really missing the mark here.
Sure. If he's targeting consumers, it would be more like Kevin's, right? Homes for sale, like stuff like that. And also look at his bio, Jimmy. See the difference in the bio? David's bio is a little too hashtaggy.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing wrong with having some hashtags, and I like that he has the bit.ly link, but it doesn't tell us who he is. You're right. Half of me thinks he's a videographer working with agents. Half of me think he's an agent that likes videography.
Yeah, and the interesting thing when you click through on that bit.ly link, it just brings them over directly to an article or one of his vlogs that's on his YouTube channel. I actually think it's a really smart technique, David, which is you're using your social channels to promote your other social channels. This is something we coach all of our clients at Curator. If you're trying to grow your Instagram following, one of the best things that you can do is send an email to your entire list promoting your Instagram account for some obviously value add that you're going to give them. So I like that he's trying to cross promote, Chris, Instagram and YouTube. I just think that like there's not enough of a setup. Like if you're going to link over to a video on YouTube, it probably should be your bio video, I would think, if you're not going to use something like Linktree, versus it just simply being a video that's in a vlog series. So let's pull up his stories and take a look at what he's got for the stories. All right. Walking around. See, we see a lot of this. Can I just say one thing about this, please?
Yeah.
Like, there's a massive opportunity on Instagram, Chris, to like stop being the person who just basically is holding the camera up like this and talking about how great you are in your nice car when you look great. Like there's a massive opportunity to make the customer the hero, and everybody on Instagram just follows a celebrity strategy. Like we can fall into that bucket too, but we've actually made a conscious effort over the last, I think, 6 months to be like, everything we do is consumer facing, trying to add value, not making us the star. And my fear is when I see something like this, where it's just another person who's doing the exact same thing everyone else is doing. So that's my sort of initial reaction, if I'm being really critical, is I just think the celebrity game plan for real estate is old, it's tired, and people are just conditioned to ignore it. I'm not sure if you have thoughts on that right now, but like you're verified, you're an Instagram celebrity in the business space. I just feel like at a certain point, everyone starts to look the same.
Yeah, well, part of it is just like, if you're going to market your personal brand, go for it. I don't think we should discourage people from putting themselves out there. I really don't. But at the same time, don't think that's the differentiator. My critique would be a little bit different. The way I see people using stories wrong, stories are supposed to connect to each other. They're supposed to tell a story. So a lot of times if you click through his, they feel like a bunch of random kind of different things. They don't build on each other. They're sort of all over the place. I saw a guy named Alex Wang do a good job of this, Jimmy, where he makes the community the hero and then he's the guide. And so he'll go to the local farmer's market and he'll do a really tight, 15 story tour of that farmer's market. I think David definitely is a big fan of personal branding. If you look through the feed, the way that you are, but you're right. If his goal is to generate real estate clients, I'm not sure that this feed is going to
let me just say one thing. Like, and again, we're giving you our honest reaction here, David. And again, David might be a great guy and might be doing some really great work with his clients. But we got to be real here. Like, if I see this, I just see a guy who's just trying to impress me. Like, I'm a consumer. Like, what in this post, like, am I going to be attracted to as a consumer? If I'm looking to hire this guy, because this is the thing, Chris, get in the mind of the consumer for a second. If I want to hire this guy to help me sell my home or buy a new home, like, what the hell of any of these posts would actually give me any feeling like, oh, this guy is someone's going to be able to help me? I know, beautiful shot with, it looks like him and his wife at a wedding. Congratulations. But like, is that your angle? Because then like that set up a personal profile for that, or set up a personal page for that. Like, there's nothing there that's really jumping out at me.
Yeah, I think you're right, Jimmy. The second that you're going to put the word realtor in your handle, the second that you're going to switch it to a business account, make it a little bit about business. Now, here's the good thing for David. The upside for him is what he's missing is what people would rather see than him. Houses, right? But again, I don't want to say don't do the personal branding. It's working. If he's comfortable putting himself out there, there are ways that can help your business. But you're right. He looks a little bit more like a model and a little bit less like a realtor. I think that's a fair, critique of his account.
Okay. So, and again, I'll go back and I'll look, because I feel guilty having to review this live on the air without actually having to watch his video. So I will watch his videos and if he will accept my follow-up.
Actually, Jimmy, let me give one quick props here for David. See that tab that says IGTV? Click on that. He's actually doing a really good job here. I don't know if the content, it actually looks like the same critique: birthday fun, back to school. Yeah. I bought some new shoes. Like, it's definitely still like the critique you gave before is valid. Yeah. But I'd love to know from our audience, have you posted to IGTV at all? I'd love to know in the comments, Jimmy, yes or no. Have you actually posted to IGTV yet? Because to give David some credit, at least he has.